Welcome to qiphyedu. Today we'll be looking at IELTS academic reading, section 1, practice. Right, so this one will be for IELTS, and before I continue, I would like to mention that if this is your first time actually looking for an IELTS practice test video online, I would like to tell you that for IELTS academic reading, this is actually one of the places where you can spend the least time in when it comes to the other three components inside your IELTS academic test. The reason is because for IELTS academic listening, you will use up your entire 1 hour to listen to the audio and also doing the questions. And then for IELTS writing, you need to spend a lot of time thinking of what to write for your essay, so it will also take up almost 1 hour. And for IELTS speaking, you will basically have no surplus time left if you answer all the questions using using up all the time that you have, which is at 20 minutes that you have. So this portion will be the one that will take up lesser time compared to the other sections. So without further ado, let's begin. So this passage is talking about electroreception. And before you read everything here from A to H, I would like to tell you that for IELTS practice test for reading, the best way to score the highest marks is to not read the passage entirely. Instead, what you need to do is to read the questions. So here you see for this practice, there's question 1 until 13. So what you need to do is to start from here. As you can see, there's the bordered text here is questions 1 to 6, 7 to 9, and 10 to 13. So let's just focus on question 1 to 6 first. All right. The reason why is because even if you read the entire passage and you do the questions, you end up just reading back the passage again to find where the passage is located and whatnot. So in order to save time and give you time to actually know which one will be the most correct answer, you might as well just look at the questions and only then look back to see where the keywords are. Right? So let's look at the first question. But before that, let's read the instructions. So which paragraph contains the following information? Write the correct letter A to H in boxes 1 to 6 on your answer sheet. Right? So you can see here that in this passage, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 paragraphs, and here there's only 6 questions. Between the 2 paragraphs we ruled out, and then we need to match the letters to the questions here, right? That best suits it. So let's look at the first question. First question, it says how electroreception can be used to help fish reproduce. So the main point here would be to talk about fish reproduce or also reproduction. So let's look at paragraph A and see whether or not there's anything here related to reproduction. So A says, open your eyes and see water, and it is difficult to see much more than the murky, blurry green color. Sounds too ungarbled and difficult to comprehend. Without specialized equipment, humans would be lost in these deep sea habitats, so how do fish make it seem so easy? Much of this is due to a biological phenomenon known as electroreception, the ability to perceive and act upon electrical stimuli as part of the overall senses. The ability is only found in aquatic or amphibious species because water is an efficient conductor of electricity. So A is basically talking about what electroreception is and how it's conducted in fishes, but it has nothing to do with reproduce, so we can just rule out A. B says electroreception comes in 2 variants. For all animals, including humans, generate electric signals. Because they are emitted by the nervous system, some animals have the ability, known as passive electroreception, to receive and decode electric signals generated by other animals in order to sense their location. So B is talking about the variants of electroreception and also the introduction of passive electroreception, so we can rule B out because there's nothing about reproduction. C, let's look at this one. Other creatures can go further still, however. Animals with active electroreception possess bodily organs that generate special electric signals on cue. This can be used for mating signals, so the main point here is mating signals and territorial displays, as well as locating objects in the water. Active electroreceptors can differentiate between the various resistance that their electrical currents encounter. This can help them identify whether another creature is prey, predator, or something that is best left alone. Active electroreception has a range of about 1 body length, usually just enough to give its host time to get out of the way or go in for the kill. Okay, so here you can see it talks about mating signals and territorial displays. So the one thing that is about reproduction would be this thing, mating. But let's look at the others and see whether or not they have the reproduction, anything related to reproduction. So D, One fascinating use of active electroreception, known as the jamming avoidance response mechanism, has been observed between members of some species known as the weakly electric fish. When two such electric fish meet in the ocean using the same frequency, each fish will then shift the frequency of its discharge so that they are transmitting on different frequencies. Doing so prevents the electroreception faculty from becoming jammed. Long before citizens, band radio users first had to yell, "Get off my frequency," at hapless novices fluttering the airwaves. At least one species had found a way to peacefully and quickly resolve this type of dispute. So, this is talking about the use of active electroreception, which is how to avoid frequencies being jammed. But that has nothing to do with reproduction. B. Electroreception can also play an important role in animal defenses. Rays are one such example. Young ray embryos develop inside egg cases that are attached to the seabed. The embryos keep their tails in constant motion so as to pump water and allow them to breathe through the egg's casing. In the embryos, electroreceptors detect the presence of a predatory fish in the vicinity. However, the embryo stops moving, and in so doing ceases transmitting electric currents until the fish has moved on. Because marine life of various types is often traveling past, the embryo has evolved only to react to signals that are characteristic of the respiratory movements of potential predators such as sharks. So there's nothing here about reproduction, because even though there's something here about embryos are already, basically the eggs that are laid after reproduction, but it's not saying how it can be used to help fish reproduce, so E has to be ruled out as well. Okay, so let's look at the last 3 paragraphs. Many people fear swimming in the ocean because of sharks. In some respect, this concern is well-grounded. Humans are poorly equipped when it comes to electroreceptive defense mechanisms. Sharks, meanwhile, hunt with extraordinary precision. They initially lump onto their prey through a keen sense of smell. 2/3 of a shark's brain is devoted entirely to its olfactory organs. As the shark reaches proximity to its prey, it tunes into electric signals that ensure a precise strike on its target. This sense is so strong that the shark even attacks blind by letting its eyes recede for protection. So this one also has nothing to do with reproduction, so we can just ignore this paragraph. And G, normally when humans are attacked, it is purely by accident. Since sharks cannot detect from electroreception whether or not something will satisfy their taste, they tend to try before they bite, taking 1 or 2 bites and then assessing the results. Our sinewy muscle does not compare well with plumper, softer prey such as seals. Repeat attacks are highly likely once the human is bleeding. However, the force of the electric field is heightened by salt in the blood, which creates the perfect setting for a feeding frenzy. In areas where shark attacks on humans are likely to occur, scientists are exploring ways to create artificial electroreceptors that will disorient the sharks and repel them from swimming beaches. So G is talking about how sharks can be attacked, how sharks attack humans, and how when they attack it, they will actually try to avoid eating it, try not attacking them after 1 or 2 bites. So it has nothing to do with reproduction as well. Let's look at H. There is much that we do not yet know concerning how electroreception functions. Although researchers have documented how electroreception alters hunting, defense, and communication systems through observation, the exact neurological processes that encode and decode this information are unclear. Scientists are also exploring the role electroreception plays in navigation. Some have proposed that seawater and magnetic fields from the Earth's core may interact to form electrical currents that sharks use for migratory purposes. So as you can see here, this is exactly why do not read the entire paragraph before doing the questions, because if you do, you're basically wasting your time. Alright, so you can see here, what you do is you just look for the main keywords. So we can see here from A until H, the only place with keywords about reproduction is C, because here it says mating. Therefore, number 1, the answer is C. Okay, so let's look for the second question. To research a possible use for electroreception that will benefit humans. So just now when we look at paragraph G, there's something about electroreception that will benefit humans. Let's read the paragraph again. Normally, when humans are attacked, it is purely by accident. Since sharks cannot detect from electroreception whether or not something will satisfy their taste, they tend to try before they bite, taking 1 or 2 bites and then assessing the results. Our sinewy muscle does not compare well with plumper, softer prey such as seals. Repeat attacks are highly likely once a human is bleeding. However, The force of the electric field is heightened by salt in the blood, which creates the perfect setting for a feeding frenzy. In areas where shark attacks on humans are likely to occur, scientists are exploring ways to create artificial electroreceptors that would disorient the sharks and repel them from swimming beaches. So in the paragraph here, it says scientists are exploring ways to create artificial electroreceptors that would disorient the sharks and repel them from swimming beaches. So this is the place where the electroreception can be used to benefit humans by using it to disorient sharks, repel them from beaches. So 2 would be G. Okay, question 3. The term for the capacity which enables an animal to pick up but not send out electrical signals. So enables animals to pick up but not send out electric signals. Just now we already saw it's passive electroreception, which is under B. Right? So electroreception comes in 2 variants, but all animals, including humans, generate electric signals. Because they are emitted by the nervous system, some animals have the ability, known as passive electroreception, to receive and decode electric signals generated by other animals in order to send their location. Pick up but not send up. So pick up is to receive and decode. But not decode, but receive. Receive means pick up. So here 3 would be B. Okay, question 4. Why only creatures that live in or near water have receptive abilities? This one would have to look at A, because that's exactly what we are talking about beginning, which is the introduction of electroreception. So looking back at paragraph A, open your eyes in seawater and it is difficult to see much more than a murky, blurry green color. Sounds too are garbled and difficult to comprehend. Without specialized equipment, humans would be lost in these deep sea habitats. So how do fish make it seem so easy? Much of this is due to a biological phenomenon known as electroreception, the ability to perceive and act upon electrical stimuli as part of the overall senses. This ability is only found in aquatic or amphibious species because water is an efficient conductor of electricity. So why only creatures that live in or near water have electroreceptive abilities? Because they need it to navigate around water, right? So fair would be A. Right? Making the nicer. Right. So question 5. How electroreception might help creatures find their way over long distances. So now, just now we talked about navigation. That would be under this would be under last time we were talking about navigation. This one is under the last paragraph. So you can see here, there is much that we do not yet know concerning how electroreception functions, although researchers have documented how electroreception alters hunting, defense and communication systems through observation. The exact neurological processes that encode and decode this information are unclear. Scientists are also exploring the role electroreception plays in navigation. Some have proposed that saltwater and magnetic fields from the Earth's core may interact to form electrical currents that sharks use for migratory purposes. Migration will normally migrate over long distances. So, how electroreception may help fishes find their way over long distances? This one will fall under H. Okay, last question for this particular portion. 6. A description of how some fish can avoid disrupting each other's electric signals. So just now we're talking about the jamming avoidance response mechanism. So this one will be paragraph D. So answer is alright. So now let's look at questions 7 to 9. Label the diagram. Choose no more than 2 words from the passage for each answer. Write your answers in boxes 7 to 9 on your answer sheet. Okay. So 7. Sharks. What alert the young ray to its presence? Okay, so now we need to look at E, because that's exactly what it's talking about, rays. Electroreception can also play an important role in animal defenses. Rays are one such examples. Young ray embryos develop inside egg cases that are attached to the seabed. The embryos keep the tails in constant motion so as to pump water and allow them to breathe through the egg casing. If the embryo's electroreceptors detect the presence of a predatory fish in the vicinity, however, the embryo stops moving and ceases transmitting electric currents until the fish has moved on. So the so for this one, what feature that a shark has that will alert the young ray to its presence. Now we just move on to reading. Because marine life of various types is often traveling past, the embryo has evolved only to react to signals that are characteristic of the respiratory movements of potential predators such as sharks. Therefore, for 7, I can't really write here because it's too small. I'm just going to put an arrow. So the shark's respiratory movements alert the young ray to its presence because the embryo has evolved to react to signals that are characteristics of the respiratory movement of potential predators such as sharks. So this is the main point, respiratory movements. So let me just write it out. Okay, and now let's move on to question 8. Embryos move its what in order to breathe? Right, so I think it's in the same paragraph. So I think it's, yeah, here. The embryos keep their tails in constant motion so as to pump water and allow them to breathe through the egg casing. So they move their tails. So embryo moves its tail. Okay, because there's only one embryo here. You need to take note of the singular and plural form. So this one would be its tail. So T-A-I-L. Sorry. Tail. Question 9. Embryo stop sending what when predator close by? So same paragraph again. The embryo stops moving and in so doing ceases transmitting electric currents. So embryo stops sending electric currents. There we go. And now let's move on to question 10 until 13. So complete the summary below. Choose no more than 3 words from the passage for each answer and write your answers in boxes 10 to 3 on your answer sheet. All right, shark attack. A shark is a very effective hunter. Firstly, it uses its what to smell its target. So let's move back and see where that is. Normally for the questions above, normally it will be you tend to go to the first few paragraphs. So a shark is a very effective hunter. Firstly, it uses its what to smell its target. So so let's read this again. It's not A, it's not B. It's also not C. Sometimes it will also be on the bottom. So let's see where it is. So here, okay, so then here you need to see where it gets to. But then let's move. Let's see. It uses is what? Normally it has to be its noses. Where is it? So okay. So here in paragraph F, I can read here. It says many people fear swimming in the ocean because of sharks. In some respects, this concern is well-grounded. Humans are poorly equipped when it comes to electroreceptive defense mechanisms. Sharks, meanwhile, hunt with extraordinary precision. They initially lock onto their prey through a keen sense of smell. So smell what? 2/3 of the shark's brain is devoted entirely to its olfactory organs. So a shark is a very effective hunter. Firstly, it uses its olfactory organs to smell its target because here it says smell. So here 10 should be olfactory organs. So even though I said in the beginning that probably in the first few paragraphs, you should also look at the back paragraphs to find the correct answer. All right. So then when the shark gets close, it uses what to guide it towards an accurate attack. So here, as the shark reaches proximity to its prey, it tunes into electric signals that ensures a precise strike on its target. So Here, when the shark gets close, it uses electric signals to guide towards an accurate attack. So this one is electric signals. Electric signals. Right? Within the final film feed, the shark rolls its eyes back or into its head. Humans are now popular food sources for most sharks due to their what? Like we looked at it just now, because of their sinewy muscle. So this one would be due to their sinewy muscle. Okay. Nevertheless, once a shark has bitten a human, a repeat attack is highly possible as salt from the blood increases the intensity of the one. So looking back at the passage, paragraph. So repeat attacks are highly likely once a human is bleeding. However, the force of the electric field is heightened by salt in the blood, which creates a perfect setting for a feeding frenzy. So force of the electric field. So force means basically intensity. So increases the intensity of the electric field. So the answer here is electric field. So you need to look at keywords. Synonyms and all those are very important in order to answer the questions here. So this one here is intensity of the electric field. Okay, so yep. So this is section 1 of the academic test. And so I hope, so I hope you guys learned that from this video. In order to do IELTS academic reading, what you need to do is to not look at the passage before answering the question. What you need to do is to actually look at the question first before reading the passage in order to find the keywords. Like what I mentioned just now, for example, first question, it says how electrical reception can be used to help fish reproduce. You can just look through everything quickly and find the keywords. Like here, you can realize that the only keyword here that is related, or that is similar to reproducing is mating. So here you can see these can be used for mating signals. So the paragraph is C. So synonyms are actually very important in IELTS reading. And two, it says a possible use for electrical reception that will be the humans. Normally, it only mean it's a very short paragraph. For example, here scientists are exploring ways to create artificial electrical receptors that will disobey the sharks. But it's already enough to answer a question like this. Then also for this one, question 7 to 9, sharks whatever alert the young ray to its presence. It could be in any paragraph. Okay, but then here you can see that young ray is only in paragraph E. So here you can see here it has to be something here. So Emperor is able to only react to signals. So react to signals, that's why it will alert the young ray. So these two are very similarly related. So here it's alert the young rays is because of its respiratory movements. And then for the last 4 questions here, these 4 questions, they actually end up coming from 2 different paragraphs. It could be the top, it could be a bottom. In this case, it's on the bottom. So shark attack would be under basically here, F and G. So you can see here, first thing it uses its olfactory organs because it says smell its target. So if you look here in paragraph F, it says keen sense of smell because 2/3 of a shark's brain is devoted entirely to its olfactory organs. So these organs are the ones that help the shark to smell things, right? And then here on the bottom, you see here it says nevertheless, within the final few feet, the shark rolls its eyes back into its head. Humans are now popular food sources for most sharks due to their sinewy muscle, which is under paragraph G. Because here you can see it says our sinewy muscle does not compare well with plumper, softer prey such as seals. So they tend to try before they bite, taking 1 or 2 bites. So see, this is from 2 paragraphs. It could be from 3 paragraphs. We have to look here very carefully before answering the question. All right. So I hope you guys learned something from this video. Do share this video out to other people who may need help with IELTS reading. Hope to see you guys again in the next video, which would be about IELTS reading section 2. Till then, this is qiphyedu. Goodbye.